Hello, 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 hello. Sorry about that. Had an important phone call. Let's try to get this going here. That'd be really cool. Can't see the chat yet, so hello to everyone that's in here. If you stuck around, appreciate it very much. All right, give me 1 second. I just want to pull up the chat. All right, we're pretty close to finishing this Lucchetti book. Like I said, we probably got about another 8 paintings, maybe 7 or 8 paintings. I think we're gonna keep this one for the duck. We'll go this route with the old rust here. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Should be muted here. I did remember to bring my stone ground gouache set that I got over there in Seattle. Probably gonna use a little bit of that titanium white on this one. I don't really feel like masking off those numbers, so we're gonna cheat just a little bit. All right, let's see who we got here. All right, I'm just gonna straight up say it. Hello, everyone. I'm glad you're all here. How about that? All right, let's get this old rust bucket. This was from M, right? Did M say that this has got to be a ship or something, right? Y'all able to see this pretty good? We're good. We're gonna keep this pretty loose. The only thing I really want to sketch in is gonna be kind of like this kind of oblong shape of the rust, because I do plan on kind of leaving some of the white. I'm gonna try a few different tricks here, actually. A train? The weather's not been bad, actually. It's been a little hot, but nothing too terrible, thankfully. We got that guy, and then we also have this other little spot here. This is a lot smaller than that, I think, but we're just gonna rock and roll with it. I really just want to kind of show off those rust colors a little bit. What's up, Deb? And good evening to anybody that's new here. If you're new, make yourself at home, pick up a friend, and pull out your sketchbook. All right, that's good there. We're gonna go a little bit lower, about here. Again, I'm not gonna try to get this totally perfect. I just want to get it close to where we're at. Anyways, how's everybody's Saturday going? Decent? Yeah, I'm about tired of the heat too, honestly. My trip next week should bring me somewhere a little bit cooler, at least for a day, and then it's back to cutting grass in Louisiana. What's up, Rachel? If I left anybody out, I'm sorry. I did not mean to. Kind of just rock and roll with this sketch. We're already kind of late on this. There is this kind of bubble thing going on here. Just this rust. Not really stressing it too much. A little scratchy one here. And the zeros kind of take the same little spot here. Again, it's a sketchbook. I don't want this to be perfect. I just want it to be fun. That is my ultimate goal here. And honestly, the less perfect, the better for me. We'll stay overnight in the lighthouse. We'll send you pics. Oh, nice. I'm going to be very close to water again in a week, as long as the weather cooperates. Hope you enjoy painting it. I've been avoiding painting that photo for a while. Why? I would like to know why, my friend. It's actually a really cool photo. I like the the lines of it. Now, if it sucks, if it comes out not so good, I'm gonna blame you for it, but other than that, it seems like a really cool photo, honestly. I'll just keep everything kind of squared off a little bit. I don't have a patio yet. I'm working on it. All those textures are difficult? I don't know. I think I'm really gonna have a little bit of fun with this. I think this could be really fun. Maybe that's why we do this in sketchbooks though, right? Amazing on Yupo? I don't know. I don't think it's, I mean, possible, I guess, but I got a few ideas, especially for those streaks. This could be fun. Do we have coffee? We do have coffee, so we're good there. Let's get this little line that goes all the way across. Of course, my lines are never straight. Look at that straight line. Nice. We'll keep that going there. Like that. We've got some other spots that kind of do these little hard lines. Where is the photo? You can find the photo on the Patreon post for sure, Deb. You see like some streaks over here. Yeah, the textures I think are gonna be a lot of fun. The only thing is we need to pick out colors here. I don't remember what any of these colors are, and we didn't really swatch this well. I do have a new swatch book I need to swatch out. But I think I'm gonna go for the rust, patchouli, earth red, for sure. We're gonna need like a darker brown. Just can't remember what colors I got in here. So we got raw umber, which is kind of a greenish tone, which that might work out. So I'm gonna go patchouli red, raw umber. For the blues, I'm gonna go probably Indian Throne. Let's go Indian Throne with some blush. If you don't have blush, you can use Buff Titanium or you can use Jaune Brilliant. Other than that, I think we're kind of gold. We're gonna need like a lighter. Yeah, so blush is probably gonna be our best bet for that. That's gonna be the goal. See if I can get this in frame to where you can see the colors too. And I'll kind of explain what I'm grabbing, what I'm going with it too. I'm trying to get this other camera going here. Okay, so first step is I'm gonna go Bell Aqua, size 16, round. We're gonna go size 0, black velvet. It's gonna be our brushes. Like I said, I don't care so much if this gets color in it because I do have white gouache in my palette, so we can rock and roll with that and be perfectly fine. Do need some water. Get the coffee out the way. And let's get some spritz going. I should put the photo in the JC updates. That'd probably be a lot helpful too. All right, so my idea is, what I'm gonna do is start wet and wet. I'm gonna start wet and wet, kind of drip drop here. Drip some colors in here, see if we can get them to fall real good. And if not, I mean, we can kind of manipulate them with the brush. That'll be like the light blush tones, the light Indian Throne. And then we might let that dry. Kind of do the same thing down here. I'm leaving this white for right now, this rust part, because there is kind of a white highlight right next to this shadow of that paint peeling. That's the goal. So let's get some water going. Blush, Buff Titanium, or Jaune Brilliant is gonna work really good for this. I'm gonna put the lighter colors down first, of course, but so a good bit of water here. Again, I want to stay away from the inside of this paint chipping. It is a sketchbook, so we can be a little loose with it. Been holding this brush with a little bit of abandonment. I don't want puddles, but I do want this paper saturated. And I'm gonna keep it off of this guy here too. And wow, it is fun. I think it's fun just to kind of practice, like Em said, the textures and stuff. And being as though this is Sketchy Saturday, there's no real pressure. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do every single line of it. I'm just trying to suggest the texture. I do feel like this type of play is good experimentation. So I want this whole area pretty much soaked, but again, no real puddles. I want movement down the page. It looks like I've got enough water here. So what I'm gonna do is take some of that blush. My palette is filthy. Okay, I'm finally asking for help. How can I find you guys on Discord? I think I need a specific name or something. Shari, I'm gonna, I'll send you the Patreon link to it. So this is the goal here. If I need to, I'm gonna drop water down and let all this kind of flow out. There's a lot of this kind of buff color hanging out. Again, super duper wet here. Kind of manipulate some color down. I don't mind if this really drip drops. I'm gonna leave some white. It does kind of look like a continent. I was thinking the same thing, Mel, earlier. So again, this is a blush from Stone Ground, but you can use buff titanium. Now what I don't want to do here is add too much water to this to where it starts going into the continent. So what I'm doing is just kind of watching my water puddles here, and if I need to brush them back in or soak them up with a paper towel, not a big deal. Same thing here. I don't know how to use buff titanium. It's one of my favorite colors, honestly. You would think that'd be a weird thing with my obsession with white, but all right, some more of that buff. Some stronger lines here. This should stay decently wet for a while too. I just want these lines to come almost all the way down on some of these. All right, now I can start pushing in some of, I might use some cerulean here too. Is that cerulean? Yeah, we've got cerulean on this guy. So I'm gonna wet that paint a good bit. Again, I want this to kind of move. I want this to be super light. It is wet and wet, so it's gonna dry way lighter anyways. Start pushing some of this down. Being very careful not to go into my continent. Like that, so. More water, let that fade down. More cerulean. And all I'm doing is building tones in this wet and wet wash. Throw some more water, get some more texture, so drops of water towards the top, let that fade down. And straight into that Indian throne. Again, water down. This is almost just the first wash. I've got the sketchbook at an angle to where everything kind of drips down. Trying to see where all these lines are. Don't want to lose that blue, that light blue in between. Kind of variate your wetness too. Draw this all the way down. If you can see this bead, oh hello Heidi. If you see these beads right here, I'm trying to be careful not to shake the sketch pad too much. I could be smart and just soak that up with a paper towel, which I probably should. So I'm just kind of using the tip of the paper towel, soaking up a little bit of that water. All right, good for me there. Is there any more blue I want to put in here? A little bit more in and thrown. If it's a little too strong, I can always kind of wet that down with water too, but it's not bad to have some strong color in here. This is just a little bit of water again. More water here. All right, that's good for me there. Now what I want to do again before anything is just kind of soak up any extra water that could run back if I lay this flat. So just a little paper towel, a little dab, dab, dab. I kind of like where that's at. So I'm gonna dry that real fast. So that technique definitely helped. I will say that much. All you're doing is letting the water kind of do what it wants to do anyways. Now what I do want to do while this is kind of drying, honestly, I've got the heat gun off a little bit. What I'm gonna do is push in some water and try to get some of these blooms around here, right around that edge. Because if you see it in the reference, let me not melt my face here, but you see it in the reference, it's got like almost this bubbled out, dilapidated paint look to it. So this is just adding a little texture around it. I am burning my chest right now with the heat gun. I should just turn it off, but now I'm kind of focused on these bubbles. Okay. Back to the heat gun. I have some darker tones I could have got around here. I see that, so when I go to add these down here, I'll add them up here as well. Yeah, fire bad, fire bad. Again, this is Stone Ground Paint, Silver Brush, and Lucetti Sketchbook. I really don't think I'm ever going to paint another sketchbook besides these. It really worked out good. I think when we put that dry brush on top, it's going to look really nice. Alright, that should be enough drying. Let's go ahead and get that bottom section. Kind of the same thing here. Just want to pre-wet, and then we'll let colors kind of drain down. I'm going to start using that burnt umber here for like that dark color we've got. I'm going to go right up to that line. right here. I'll leave our continent dry again. I'm sorry, y'all said this was a train, right? Not really good with locomotives. Better with nature. I'll leave this little white gap right here too for no reason. Side of an old train. Okay, so back to lifting at an angle a bit here. It's gonna be a little weird. My paint's on the left side this time, but we'll keep rocking and rolling with it. So we'll put some of that blush down. Get a little bit looser now that I know that technique really kind of worked really good. Same thing, we're just kind of building around those colors. Drop some water in here. Into that cerulean mix, which is overhand over here. There's not a whole lot of that dark blue, but more of that brown. So I'm going to piece in some of these blues here. Blue's a little bright. Some of that water kind of take it down a notch a little bit. Into that Indian throne, if I can reach through my arm. Not a whole lot of the dark. We'll put some so we can kind of get out. Almost greenish look to that blush and that head. So more water, lighten this up a lot. Maybe lift a little bit if we've got too much blue. And then we'll start leaning into that burnt umber. I'm gonna mix that over here. I know you can't really see this. It's hard to paint with this angle right now. So burnt umber, some of that patchouli red right here. I want this to be kind of a reddish brown. I wonder if Luchetti will make a smaller, yeah, they're making a 5x5, which I'm very excited about. Because right now all I got is my etcher, 5x5. Yeah, see, we're starting to get some of that dark brown here. I like that a lot, actually. I'm gonna bring it a little bit more down. Same thing here. And do some drops of water, see if we can get it to go all the way down the page. Reach over with this angle. Get more brown there. A little more burnt umber to that mix. And a little more patchouli red to that. Right underneath here, there's some sloppy ones. Sloppy drops. What I'll do while I'm right here is kind of just put some water down underneath here and get a little bit of that brown back too. We'll dry it all together. They are making like a wood pulp version too, by the way. So like a cheaper version of their sketchbook. I think we talked about that last week. I'm not 100% sure. Laurie, I almost screwed up and didn't make it into the big easel. Everything going on. Forgot that the application was like to be paid soon. But luckily, everybody gives me kind of a pass, so. Do I see any other brown marks here? What I might do is while this is going, I'm gonna go and try to keep a little bit of that white line in between. Bring a little bit of that buff down. Try to skinny up that line a little bit. Into that cerulean mix. A few spots. And into that burnt umber and patchouli mix. All right, kind of cool with that. Maybe a touch more of that brown. Texture here. All right, I'm cool with that. The only thing I might fix here, lift a little bit of that brown back up. Okay, cool. Let's dry that. I'm gonna fix a little bit of this here too. What are we thinking, Em? Are we getting pretty close on the texture here? I didn't think about this one too hard all day, but I did think about it. I'm not gonna lie to you. Did I make it into the big easel? Yeah. Yep. Lighting drum is terrible. I make a little, I bought a little blow up light, especially for like painting live out here. I even use it at home, honestly. I think like $30, and you can pretty much mount it anywhere. Really good lighting. I do almost want to add some kind of like burnt sienna into this, or at least some kind of pyrrole red. I might see how this plays out. With that patchouli washed out a little bit. Paper takes forever to dry. I'll put a link of it. Tracy, you're in Discord, right? Pretty sure Heidi has the same light too. It's a really good light for this stuff, I will say that. Yep. I mean, there is this kind of white happens on the top of the continents. So what I'm gonna try to do is pre-wet everything and leave that white border. That way we've got some kind of highlight between the paint and that rust. So I'm pre-wetting a little bit. I'm getting there with straight patchouli. I'm gonna water that down a little bit. All I want to do is start bringing that rust color in. Now I can kind of see just where I'm at. We'll kind of pre-wet around, make sure we're keeping that white edge. I almost want to add like an ochre to this, and I think I will, just because I feel like I see it in there. So this is patchouli red. And what I'll do is, let's add a little bit of yellow ochre towards the bottom here. Bottom's pretty dark, so I don't have to worry about leaving that little white edge, but if you want to, it's not a big deal either. So, more into that wet mix here. And what I'm going to want to do is charge that color in pretty significant, that dark. Just making sure I have enough light in here to where it'll make sense. Some more yellow, lay that up a little bit. Maybe a touch more yellow ochre up here. Again, leaving this white lip. Now I can go in with that burnt umber, patchouli. This pretty thick. I'm gonna lean it a little bit more patchouli right now. And we'll start bringing in some of these kind of darker tones in here. I just want the texture. I don't need so much. A little bit more red. There is a bit of a dark lip below the white lip. Gonna start piecing that in a little bit. Throw some texture in here with some water. Let that all kind of play. And actually let that move around a little bit if you want. Do some lifting. And then we'll add that indanthrone. Bit of that burnt umber right next to it. This is that dark. All I want to do is push in just a little bit of color beneath that white lip. About to wash this. I don't want this to move too crazy, but you always push it back with a drop of water. It'll push it back up into it. More texture too. So we've got that red brown. I'm gonna let a little bit of that blue mix into it, get a little bit darker. It's still in the brown. And that seems good to me. Maybe a little bit more patchouli just straight up right here. Lifting a little bit. All right, cool. That worked exactly like I expected it to for once. Same thing, I'm gonna take that patchouli red over here, pretty watered down. And we'll do the same thing we did with the little continent. Leave some of that white lip of that paint peeling. Get some more water in here, spread this out. Same thing here. This is a big area, so I'm gonna work kind of fast because things will dry on you pretty quick. Spread that little bit of color out. This is all water, not a whole lot of paint here right now. I did use that patchouli to kind of show where my paper is wet. Same thing here. Wet and wet gives us a little bit of time to play. What I'm looking for in the reference here is a little bit of that yellow. Hey, Jen. So we'll grab that yellow ochre and kind of stay towards the bottom here. I mean, we could throw in a little bit toward the top here. Just with the texture of that rust. See some more over here. I am seeing where things are starting to dry a little bit. Add some more water, they kind of play out. And towards the bottom here, the yellow ochre. Grab some of that color, let it kind of play out. And same thing down here. I have not abandoned the reference, but I'm pretty close to it. I think I have an idea how it's looking. Most of the heavy rust is towards the middle. Some more water. We'll start mixing that patchouli. Touch of that brown. And start getting some of these spots in that are a little bit darker. Stop it. This is fun. We're just having fun at the sketchbook. That is the ultimate goal, is to keep learning. More texture here. That yellow is almost like an underwash. We didn't let it totally dry, but it's still going to kind of play out in it too. And we're just building tones upon tones. The texture kind of help us out a little bit too. I'm digging it so far, though. I will say that much. This really was a good picture. Good job, Ian. Do is like put that pool down a little bit, maybe. Even have some fun with this. Maybe splatter some water in here. We're still gonna put more paint down, but a little texture. Be like our darker mid-tone with just the raw umber, patchouli, pretty thick. We'll get smaller as we go with those colors. A little bit more patchouli that makes. I feel like we're just not going red enough. I'm trying to see where some of these spots are. To me, if you would try to paint every single piece of this rust, you'd probably go insane. Yeah, we got a little bit right here, maybe a little bit more of that dark. Kind of random, just looking for the values in the painting. Maybe a little bit more color. Thank you, Tracy. Let's soak up a little bit of this water. Could do a little bit of lifting here. If you notice, all this is kind of drying on me a little bit, so I'm going to re-wet that just a tear. What I want to do is go back in with that Throne, and we'll kind of piece in some of those shadows of that paint. maybe even a little bit more. So we got that dark brown there, more patchouli, just like a darker, redder version of that. Are there dark undertones in here? I don't feel like there is, right? All right, now we could do some rust color. So a little bit of water. All right, I like that. Kind of curious. Big drops of water here. I want more texture. Soak up a little bit of this water towards the bottom. Are there any light tones that we can kind of pull back out here? Maybe some random spots. All right, cool with that. And while that's going, there is kind of this brown line below right here that we can pull in this shadow. There was this little guy right here. Being pretty loose for the most part. Someone's irritated, but I said, I'll let Johnny do it. You got this. Oh, dude. No, this is a fun one. This is a fun one. You see how that white kind of helped out with that lip, though? Like it looks like it's peeling a little bit, right? And we'll strengthen that dark right underneath it too, because it's pretty harsh of a dark. I do want to try something for these lines up here. I'm just very scared to do it. So maybe that's why we should. If you can see the shapes and the values, I think you can do this one pretty good. I will say that much. I'm going to call this the detail part of this stage, of this painting, should I say? I'm going to go small brush first, kind of, if this ever dries. So this is where we go with the size 0. Take a good mix of that blush. Let's see how this looks, how opaque it is against that blue. I want a lot of paint on the brush here, and all I want to do is, in these lighter spots, just some harder lines. This helps if you go left to right if you're right-handed, but not always the sharpest tool in the shed. I don't want to ruin this with the details. I think that's enough on that part there. Some of those solid lines. And we can do maybe a little bit of that patchouli, or like a burnt sienna. Still size 0. Just kind of bring in a few more of these dark tones. Trying to be careful here not to go over my lines. Alright, then a little bit of that cerulean. Try to find a clean spot on this palette. Same thing, just some I doubt it, Val. Again, just the suggestion of this texture here. If you notice your dry brush is a little too rough, don't be afraid to add water to it. These paints are stone ground. That's enough for me on there. Let's get a little bit of that indenthrone. I'm going to use kind of the belly of the brush on this guy. I do see like there's some lines in here. Get a little bit more water to this. Scale line. And I don't want to go too crazy with this. So I'm just doing a few of the lines here. And then we could go back into our patchouli and umber mix. Pretty concentrated. Still dry brush. This is wet on dry now. Maybe a little bit more burnt umber right towards the top of that. Vary that color just a little bit. And while we're there, I'm going to take that indenthrone with a touch of raw umber, and I just want to skate right underneath. White edge. Again, this is wet on dry, so I can get a little bit more definition from that shadow. I like that a lot. There is this little spot here with a cerulean. I'm gonna piece up by this brown. This is gonna be very bare right here, but this is just part of that like bubble. Maybe we can kind of define a little bit more. What I want to do is soften that back up. I just want to define this part right here. So on the other side too, I don't think so, right? Maybe a touch of that blue, honestly. Here we go, that's better. Val, if it's intimidating, I'm gonna tell you, hold hold your brush back a little bit more, like towards the back, and let it kind of dance a little bit, especially on these textures in here. I don't know if you noticed that, but it was a whole lot of like belly brush, tip brush, a lot of that. Maybe a little bit more of that up here, just kind of bubble. A little bit of dark. And letting it kind of dance. There's just texture on that bubbled out paint. I prefer to use the old finger brush too. All right, cool. I'm good with that. I like where this is at too. So I'm gonna start on this guy now. What I'm gonna do is everything's gonna be pretty wet on dry. And I want this pretty strong, so I want the paint decently thick here. Again, just keeping that white area there. This is just the shadow where that paint is peeling up. Soften that edge a little bit there. Think how wide that came out. Just a damp brush. Thank you, Trace. Same thing, just a little feather. All right, we've got patchouli. Wet on dry again. And what I want to do is just take the belly, and I'm looking where some of these kind of harder lines are. This is just straight patchouli. It's like a milk consistency. Whole milk on them. Good for me. I am looking at the picture a little bit just to get a little bit of where these values are. Same thing back into the raw umber here. Just a few dark spots. Less dark than you ever think. Don't be afraid to kind of feather stuff out if it looks funky. I don't like how square that looks, so I'm gonna go back into that a little bit more. I'm gonna do the same thing on this guy, but I'm gonna use the bigger brush. So patchouli or burnt sienna. I'm gonna load that up with a good bit of paint on here. All I'm gonna do is kind of create some of those textures inside the rust. Really loose. Look how far I'm leaving the brush behind. Really, really, really letting it dance a lot. And back into that. A little bit more patchouli of that. And there's these kind of hard spots in here. Brush stroke here. Same thing on this guy, letting the brush dance a good bit. Anything I don't like this red's kind of sticking out a little bit on me. Soften that back out a little bit. Don't like how that looks a little bit. But that definitely looks like rust to me. There are some parts, some darker parts. I'm gonna take that brown with the indanthrone. It's not as dark as this stuff up here. I gotta get a little bit more of that. It's a darker brown that kind of lips around here. So size 0 brush. And I don't know if this goes all the way around or not. There's just some parts that kind of peel up a little bit. So maybe embellish a little bit of those dark spots. All right, very cool with that. Get towards the bottom, so straight patchouli on the brush on the size 0. And what I want to do is get some of those lines from that rust. I didn't say what on dry already. I meant to. Leave some texture here. Into that raw umber. Right below. Do need to remember that we don't have the blue streaks down on this side yet. Patchouli. These really aren't that deeper runs here. Damn near using this like gouache. Really thick. Back into that raw umber. Just a little bit here. More of that patchouli. Underneath here. Back into that brown. Really letting the brush take over for a minute. We'll grab some of that dark blue. Be careful not to put my hand right here, but I do want some of those darker blue lines. Soften it back up just a tear. I like how hard that line is. I'm gonna take a little bit of water on the brush. Soften that dark back up. It's gonna be kind of weird, but let's go patchouli, touch of that indanthrone here. This is gonna be the first time we kind of mix this color up in this. But I want that red darker without being more brown with that green. What's up, C-Nam? And all I want to do here is a few extra darks, just as texture. Soften that back up. All right, I'm really happy with that. So we'll dry that. Let's put some gouache on this baby. Get the heat gun off of here. I really like where everything went on this one, honestly. The techniques that I had in mind worked for once. All right, let's swap up the watercolor for the gouache. I haven't used this in some time, so it might not be perfect. I do have that titanium white and prairie moon, which I think is what I'm going to use. And then to be honest with you, there's another. We'll use Marge orange for the other one. Just one more. We'll just want that first row there. Do want to make sure we're not getting into some other music. Dennis, I'm looking at it. Stop it. Yeah. All right, so we got a little bit of white here. I hate using black velvet for gouache, but whatever. Let's see how opaque this stuff is. I remember using it one time after I went to Seattle. I don't remember anything after that. So what we'll do is lay down some good titanium white here. Lost your brush. A little bit of that other moon color in here. I'm gonna lay that white down pretty much throughout the zeros. And fix anything that I need to. All right, where's this zero at? How many zeros were there right here? Really kind of using the titanium white to get my zeros back. I can't see them underneath the paint that we got. That is all zeros, right? Okay. We got a little bit of that moon kind of grow here. If you don't have gouache, I mean, you should have gouache. Everybody's got a white gouache now, right? Thank you, Laurie. 4 zeros, right? Okay, we're gold. Let's get a little bit of that red in here. It's like a burnt sienna. If you don't have a whole gouache set, you can actually just use white gouache and tint it with a little bit of watercolor. I'll go back with lights if I need to. I'm just kind of mixing it all up. This does look like we've kind of gotten away from this looking too white. All right, where was this 2? I know the 6 was right here. I'll get away with doing the 6 first. That way I can reference where my 2 should be. It's lined up, so we're gonna say right here. How about that? Again, using the white just to point me in the right direction of where my numbers are. Let's not totally screw this up yet. Same thing, these zeros. Don't let this be an audition for stone ground squash. I'm not using this right, for sure. More white here. I don't think I have an intron in here, but all right, some more of that kind of yellowish color too. Have some on this side too. Back into that kind of patchouli, same kind of mix here. Yeah, and it's been in the drawer for some time, honestly. Is that white gouache or watercolor? White gouache. This is all gouache right here. I don't like how not white it is, though, if we're being honest here. I'm gonna try something here. Bigger brush, more paint. More white gouache here. Touch of it here. Do I have Indian Throne in this? Peacock Blue, Starry Night. No. All right, I think that's about it. I think if I try to get any more on the details here, we kind of ruin it. I feel like we came, we saw, we conquered on this one. What do we think? I'm okay with that. Looks like rust. This is Stone Ground, same people that did the watercolors. I just found my set recently. All Stone Ground. You want a sketchbook tour before I get off? One more time. Go through what we've been through so far. I feel like we should finish these off with this for right now. So magnolias, this guy, loose landscape, grapes, nice little seascape. I do want to paint some more skies soon. We got Lloyd House. Again, Again, this is one of my favorites here. That's from Germany, the Germany trip. This is also from the Germany trip. That was Switzerland. The cabbage rose. Don't like that one per se. Little swamp scene. Toxic sky. Weird peach. I do want to work on anatomy. Really could use some more of that. What I liked about this one a lot was not so much the pear in the hand, but just the kind of background. Chicken feets. That's a good one. Oranges. Pansy. Beach scene. Waves. Hardline sky. Abduction. Okay, buddy. Got the abduction here. Tree study. A bug. Yeah, the chicken feet were awesome. Leaf. Dragons. This needs to be the duck. I've got to catch up on the duck. I haven't caught up on the duck yet. Seashell or snail shell. The orca was fun. Did we do that one on? We didn't do that one on YouTube, but it's up on YouTube, right? For Patreon, yeah. This guy was on YouTube and Patreon for sure. This is from Terry. That was a good one. And we got this last one from him, the rusty train side. So that's gonna be it for me. I'll be back probably live Thursday. Really still trying to figure things out here for a little bit. But yeah, I do appreciate you guys hanging out. Anybody that's not a part of Patreon, you should be, because the replays are available right after this. And yeah, I will see y'all soon. Later, nerds. Post them in the Discord if you did it too, though.